Well, a new book is revealing more details about how former President Biden really felt about his ex-boss, President Obama, in those weeks before he dropped his 2024 campaign. The book is claiming, quote, Obama had been trying to get in touch with Biden for about 2 weeks, but his calls had not been returned. Obama reached out again after Biden suspended his campaign, but the two men would not end up speaking until shortly before the Democratic National Convention 4 weeks later. Our next guest, a Biden White House insider, says this isn't at all surprising. Michael LaRosa served as Jill Biden's press secretary, and he joins us now to explain. Welcome, Michael. We're hearing that they went to a restaurant recently. They were in the same restaurant, never even said hi to one another. I've always suspected that Jill Biden is really the one who has beef with the Obamas. What say you?
Rachel, I can always rely on you to giving me the most uncomfortable and pleasant topics for conversation about my party. Yeah, I think there's no love lost between the two families, and it kind of goes back, and it's been widely reported now. It's no secret. I'm not giving away trade secrets. Look, President Obama never picked President Biden as his running mate to be his successor. And we know that because in the 2 times he ran for president after Obama, President Obama didn't endorse his own vice president. So there isn't a ton of love lost between the two. And when that was happening, when Biden wasn't taking his phone calls, I doubt Biden thought Obama was the ringleader of the effort to bring him out. But he certainly wasn't discouraging it, and he certainly wasn't encouraging President Biden to stay in. And I don't think that was lost on particularly Jill Biden or any Biden member of the family.
Yeah, they definitely pushed him off the stage. I stand by my theory that Jill Biden felt very disrespected, not just Barack, but by Michelle Obama. And that's why she insisted on Joe Biden running in the first place, even though a lot of people were already seeing that mental decline. But you and I can get drinks and discuss later.
Yeah, there's no doubt 2016 stung when they named Hillary the successor, for sure.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about this, because the White House is clapping back after all these Democrats, especially the Clintons, were complaining about all the renovations in the White House. So the way they did this was so brilliant, the best trolling I've ever seen. They put up a timeline of all the renovations in the White House, and they included on the timelines, along with like the renovations after the War of 1812, then they put in President Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky. They included shots of another timeline, Obama with the Muslim Brotherhoods, Hunter Biden, drugged out, saying the day we discovered, cocaine in the White House. And then, of course, Trans Visibility Day, which was fascinating, too. So what do you make of all this? Is this enough to shut up the Democrats? Are they going to stop thinking they can out-troll the president?
Okay, to save time, I'm not going to argue with the substance of some of those things that were put on the timeline and just talk about the tactic. Sure. And I got to say, if you take your partisan hat off, yes, it was really funny. I mean, this White House, this president, vice president, and this cabinet have really rewritten the playbook on how to communicate with the public and push back against their opponents. They have, all of them, have a really take no shit strategy. And Democrats could learn a lot from adding the humor and the aggression, as many even advertising legends would tell you. And this cabinet, this president, this digital shop does an incredible job at communicating.
You nailed it. It's aggressive, but it's done with a wink in the eye, and that's what the Democrats lack. All right, Michael LaRosa, you do have a wink in your eye, and that's why we love having you on. Come on back to Fox and Friends next time.
Anytime.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.